Hello guys there, this is Earth and I returned after a really long time with the commentaries on this specific YouTube channel, Strong Victory YouTube channel. Uh, as you by now know, this channel specifically meant for finale games of the Roma Victor tournament finale games. And this time this is a jubilary 10th Roma Victor tournament. It came after a long time, practically after 2 years almost, I think. Because there were questions um, also regarding myself. Um, how will we organize this tournament, and is there really a point? Uh, After several blunders that happened, but okay, that is past. I found a way to go out of that peculiar situation. It is that I asked Luke to be not just admin but also co-host with me, where we will share equal parts in it, especially because he could also invite this amount of players in, and this tournament had 24 players. Regarding that is 2023, so 20 years most as the Rome Total War exists. Not many players are still around, so having 24 players and practically all games except one were played, which rarely happens on any tournament. And the only game that weren't played was the game for the third place. That should have been between myself and Hamilcar Barca. And the thing was that I wasn't really in the mood like fighting for the third place again. Like I have like 80% of my signatures are third place, so I was like, no, I have them. I really don't have motivation to play best of nine that were in the semifinals and in finals this time. So I was like, okay, maybe if somehow match that you are online and I'm in the mood to play, we can play that much. And for the reason, cause I really couldn't then play like like to lose and not to get to the place. So I will play my best, and as I said, I really got sick of these third places and wasn't really in the mood for him to lure by then anyway. So sorry to Hamilcar, but that I haven't gave him game for third place. But I really had no motivation, and that's why that happened. Uh, I don't think it is undeserved because Hamilcar definitely can beat me. So I think it's not undeserved third place. And finale happened between Luke and Chuck. So no clan tags this time in finale. That rarely happens, but this time happened. And on Luke sometimes represent HOS, sometimes some other clans, but this time he was clanless. And it's best of nine, as I said. But also the format was a bit different this time, and it wasn't just that change from the best of five to best of nine. Uh, the more matchups is played, the skill difference should be more visible between players. That's how it is, that unwritten rule. But yeah, usually that's how it is. Luke insisted on that, and I had no problem, because that definitely favors skill more than any luck. So yeah, we hit best of nine, and the other change was that instead of standard matchup offered matchup choosing some good 20 to 30 matchups that were on the matchup list, which players could choose. For his higher bracket chooses one, and they play both sides. Then how was the old rules, and tiebreaker was Rome. This time matchups were chosen differently. So one matchup would choose higher bracket, and faction would choose lower bracket player. And then the opposite, lower bracket chooses matchup, higher bracket chooses faction from that matchup, and so on, so on. Including, therefore, possibly any matchup is included, even Gaul versus Egypt, if someone is enough insane to pick that one. But as well, Rome versus Rome was also an optional matchup, because tiebreaker would be again higher bracket chooses matchup, and lower bracket chooses faction. Um so Rome versus Rome wasn't a tiebreaker, but a matchup actually, so someone could pick it, and there was no option for repeating matchups per series, which was good, because that's also not really a measurement of skill if someone is really that good in one matchup, and he could even pick, for instance, matchup that not just that is good for him, but that he knows that is bad for the opponent, because by now we all know everything about each other after these years of playing competitive. So yeah, that was good rule also, that matchups cannot be repeated. So yeah, Roman Victor tournament. Not just that I'm founder of that tournament and was hosting each of these. It is definitely, by all means, I guess Cup of Nations is more popular of all traditional Rome Total War tournaments, though it's also arguable. Rome Victor had 64 participants too, 48, so not really that much. And I agreed to these changes because they also favor the skill, and this is the tournament that by far the most represents skill, where in each round players that pass are usually the best players. So all final salon winners by now were well deserved, and rarely luck was a factor at all. Okay, now let's focus on the games. Enough banter about the tournament. Uh, this was Armenia Skytia. Since Chuck was higher bracket, I guess that this is match with him picked. So look, pick faction Armenia, and he have here more or less standardish roster with 6 peltas, or it's less. Can't really count. Yeah, it's probably 6. Uh, Upgrades are not that much important. GG on them at least. GG archers, 6 of them. 6 cataphracts, GG, and 2 GG arb cavalry. Practically standardish roster. I personally rarely ever played with this one roster. I mean, I played, but I have nothing against it. It's just that I like usually find more suitable for myself playing with some others that are also good. But yeah, this one is very checked, and probably the most common roster that you will see as Armenia against Skytia. A very, very good one. Okay, let's triple to wait for Chuck. Yeah, in short, this is more or less rushy roster for Armenia, where usually you cannot really just play like full scale rush because you don't have infantry, so you have to play rather methodical rush, kind of rush, like removing one by one enemy troops. Of course, there is an opportunity, you will try to remove more of them, but yeah, this is more like for like a methodical kind of rush, not just like berserk rush. That many when you mention rush, people usually imagining that kind of rush. Okay, so let's see for Chuck here. Just pause. Let's say the armies. Okay, these are archers. One common archer. Okay, G mostly so GG. Okay, 6 GG archers, 2 chosen archers, G attack. We have headhunting maidens. 1, 2, yeah, okay. So he have 8 cavalry, melee cavalry. 2 are these Scythian nobles, and 6 are headhunting maidens, all GG, and 2 dogs. 2 dogs. Uh, I mean, this is good army, no doubt. Though I usually like to fill all 20 slots, possible 20 slots for units, and he have here 18. So yeah, I would take at least 2 more peasants. It's always good having some buffer units, from my perspective. But this is good army, no doubt. I mean, this melee is not weaker at all than Armenian. I'm it shouldn't really be, especially because of dogs there too. So, in reality, it's maybe not even bad to charge from the start in some of these pelters to try to get rid of them. Even if you would lose like 5-6 maidens from archer shooting or something, perhaps it's worth it, because after that you're definitely creating a significant skirmish advantage. Okay, Chuck will shoot archers, it seems. And yeah, he's going immediately aggressive. He's doing actually what I suggested. And so far he's doing it well, I'd say. Okay, he lost immediately 1 maiden, which isn't really good for finale. Again, now these Scythian nobles are cut too. Not really good. I don't know how he turned to be sleepy. Chuck is a good player, and to lose that much units on the start. Okay, these are all for now 27 and 23. Perhaps he pulled them out, but I don't really see why would his micromanagement be sloppy here, because there isn't really much going on. Could be some mismanagement, misclick or something. And yeah, he's still having on loose a lot of his cavalry. I mean, it's good having them on loose for specific purposes. I mean, I'm not sure. I saw that people saw from Luke or myself or some other players having cavalry units on loose, but I wouldn't like have them like 3 on loose and everywhere, and 4 that turn tight. It's like it's already a micromanagement, needless pressure on yourself. Like if you keep them on lows, you keep them for specific purposes. It's like either chasing units, some units that are like archers, routing or something else, and they're really good for field morale manipulation, like keeping a wider field covered. But you do that for also for some time, like you go in tight as soon as there is a threat for the engagement. And why not with all? Really, why not with all? Because that way you preserve your micromanagement by all means. But okay, let's see what is happening further. Yep, he manages to pull them out with not many losses, but then these archers will be threatened since Luke have a lot of cavalry here. And Luke will abandon this flank, it appears, because these dogs can do decent damage, I guess. And I guess Chuck could have charged here on that one because it was glitchy, but it routed anyway. Okay, so now happens some, to say, awkward situation for Luke, where he, to say, stupidly loses his cavalry. I mean, it wasn't really because he played stupid, it just really was stupid situation. But anyway, if Chuck charged, he would lose this cavalry here, so it routed legit. Even it turned like perhaps even better like this for Luke, because if Chuck charged, this would like have definitely less men than he has now, and this one unit can return. Meanwhile, Luke is doing a decent, nah, not really decent removal of Chuck's archers. But yeah, his missiles are also okay so far, as just the Chuck finally managed to surround him. Let's see if this Chuck's cavalry returned. I was paying attention. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, but he is losing some of his men a lot. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Luke's cavalry is still way better. Way better. Even it's him who have routed unit at this point. Let's see what here happens. This will be interesting with discovery here. Chuck pulls out. Okay. So about stamina, I think that they're all fine, warmed up. At this point, Luke was trying, I guess, to protect his missiles, but at this point, when dogs arrived, they're going to do quite a mess here. But Chuck is moving too much with his cavalry and losing a lot. He lost the general now. I guess Luke will have also some losses in his cavalry on these dogs because he's also moving and he's glitchy. Perhaps this was... I have to pause. Perhaps, but no. If he haven't lost this general, he could have aimed to charge here, because there's a lot of routing units, there's a lot of archers, so his morale ground would be, I'm speaking about Chuck, his morale ground would be really strong here for this engagement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the 6th, where is 7th? As far as I saw, he lost only 1 cavalry. Yeah. So there is the 6th. Perhaps even engagement wouldn't be that bad, you know. Perhaps even now isn't that bad, because Luke also lost some cavalry. It's glitchy, it's everywhere. I would go for the engagement. I know that many players do not agree with such approach that I have, and rarely anyone does have such approach, like to go for the engagement even if you have a skirmish advantage. Rarely any player does that except me. But and I know that cost me a lot many times, especially since I don't do really magnificent charges as some other players. But looking from this perspective, I think that morale would be strongly on Chuck's side if he went for the engagement here, especially if he haven't lost his general. But even now, I think that he should win. He should win if he goes for the engagement, like somewhere here. Like, no need even to charge on this glitchy unit that would probably rout immediately, but then your unit can continue chasing it and be also caught and easily to die. But yeah, like attacking these two seem as pretty much accurate, and immediately sending this one like to go forward towards this blob. Immediately ordering to your archers to shoot some of these cataphracts, and then continuing charge with these other cavalry. I think that Luke would simply have to send everything in, because your charge, Chuck's charge, would be first here, and he couldn't really run, so he would have to accept. So let's see what happens, since game will last like as much as it was till now. I'm pretty much sure that Chuck haven't done it. Plus, it's here these dogs. I would definitely go. Yeah, he goes. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what. Okay, look, doing this nicely with this Arab cavalry. Yeah, check charges, but this one should have has been sent earlier. And yeah, Chuck disengages. This is also legit, but also he's been sloppy with some. But yeah, if this one arrived earlier, he wouldn't have to disengage. Like he could have just disengaged with one to recharge again, and I think it would be really good for him. It's really good for him because I really don't see how would look manage to survive all that. So if this one was sent, that's why it is really important order of giving commands to your units. It's not just that it preserves your micromanagement, you don't waste it if you like have a good order of moving your units. Like it's not enough that you see that you need to move this unit forward, as Chuck eventually did. But it's also important to not to waste time and to order to that unit that was here to come toward the engagement rather sooner than he sent all his cavalry there to go. Like he could have done one fake charge. Luke still couldn't get away. He was surrounded. He would have to accept melee eventually. So he didn't have to rush. This cavalry was definitely needed to go earlier toward the engagement. But okay, I mean this was finale, so mistakes are happening. I'm going to be saying what kind of blunders I'm doing many times. So yeah, it's completely understandable that this is just the analyze of the game. Uh, who's watching a replay, who is not playing. So it's much easier being smart when you're watching and not seeing mistakes rather than when you're playing. So this doesn't mean that Chuck don't know it. He probably know more than well all this what I was speaking about. It's just that when you're playing against a strong opponent, it's never that easy to implement everything that you know. You're making mistakes. At this point, looks stamina is decent. Okay, he have archers. That's good for him. But yeah, now is the moment when Chuck should definitely skirmish and shouldn't engage. That's something that I mean, perhaps he even can afford to himself, but he shouldn't. Yeah, I see. And this is the mistake that many of us are doing. I don't think that he should have moved all his cavalry. Like, he should have at least rest some, at least some. And this, yeah, this wasn't great for neither of them. Okay, Luke is killing archers. And yeah, this is what I was trying to say. And Chuck isn't really defending his archers well and still moving his cavalry, so it's now tired. Yeah. So the same result would be if he simply let Luke chasing these archers and kill them. So yeah, this was probably better. Luke can't really afford immediately to chase them only with Arabs, because there was a maiden, and he could have sent just like one more maiden to protect these archers, but yeah, he sent practically all. And plus all these archers are moving. Like, was good to rest a few of them and just send 2 or 3 to shoot. Which would either make Luke just to understand that he will lose too much stamina and just to simply stop and accept being shot, or he would have to continue chasing archers, while then you definitely can rest with your maidens and not move them at all. Like, just let him kill all the archers. You'll do more than well after that. So yeah, this was a crucial mistake. I'm not sure. I know the result in advance, probably all of you know, but I forgot who won in each of the games. So I'm not sure who actually won this game. I forgot. So perhaps Chuck won, but there are some mistakes. This was really a mistake. This was really a mistake. Uh, Overall, he played well because Locke's methodical play didn't pay it off really well once he lost all his missiles here from the dogs. So Chuck did really well there to patiently keep his dogs for that specific moment. So good job for Chuck there. Yeah, Chuck will lose this one unit, definitely. These moves, yeah, are needless. What's good? I mean, I'm guess saying also from my perspective, I'm repeating that mistake many times, but it's really good. Not even bothering like to protect your units that you see in advance at this loss. Like this is already a late move when you try that. This is a bit strange, but yeah, okay. Nice micromanagement for Chuck, but yeah, he lost 3, look lost more. 7, like 7 are cover. It was working, I guess. Bad cut frags are strong if fresh. That appears that Luke cannot really afford that to himself. He is now making a mistake here, but he also cut this archer. Now if Chuck saved discovery, it's good for him, I think. Luke doesn't seem really good at this point. Yeah, I guess this general may even survive. But he lost this one, yeah. Yeah, it's GG. Chuck won. Eventually, Chuck was skirmishing real well, and he played more or less as it should be played. So also, as I predicted in once, then he should do. He more or less did. The only thing what I really didn't like was that he sent all those maintenance to try to protect 2 archer units that were obviously lost. As for Luke, I don't know for any specific mistakes. It's just that he perhaps was too orthodox in his intentional methodical rush. And it was really grim for him once he lost these missiles here. Yeah, this blob, mainly from dogs and from few maidens charges. Good game overall. So this is 1-0 for Chuck. Okay, see you soon for the commence of the second game.